I'm not signing up for forever until I've had a few last nights with other men, Jennifer said, like she was negotiating an upgrade on our flight. Okay, I said, and she nodded like I'd just agreed to hold her place in line. Hey friends, please subscribe and turn on notifications, like this video, and leave a comment with your impressions. This will be a great help. Thank you. We never tire of reminding you. It's all thanks to you. The wedding contract was on the granite counter in our condo in Phoenix, held down by a ceramic bowl of keys. The top page was from a desert resort in Scottsdale, stamped with our date in bold, April 26. Under it, in my handwriting, was a simple note I'd made the night before, 9 weeks. Beside the contract sat a stack of place cards Jennifer had been practicing with, her neat looping script on thick paper. It looked like a celebration. It felt like a liability. I was still in my work polo, dust on my shoes from being out on rooftops all day. I manage service schedules for a commercial HVAC company. It's the kind of job where you learn quickly that small delays become big problems, and every promise you make has a cost. Jennifer was perched on a bar stool with her laptop open, but she wasn't working. She was scrolling through something on her phone, pausing now and then like she was reading lines she planned to say out loud. She's a dental hygienist, good with people, good with smiles, good with presenting calm even when she's deciding something sharp. Hey, I said, setting my lunch cooler down. You've been quiet. She looked up and gave me a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I've been thinking, she said. About the seating chart, I asked, nodding at the place cards. About us, she corrected, and that's when I knew dinner wasn't going to taste like anything. I washed my hands and stood at the sink a moment longer than necessary, letting the water run, buying myself a few seconds. When I turned, she had both hands on the counter, fingers spread like she was bracing herself. Before you say anything, she began, I need you to hear me all the way through, and I need you to remember that I love you. That sentence is like a doctor saying, this won't hurt, right before it does. I walked over and sat on the opposite stool. Okay, I said, I'm listening. Jennifer exhaled. I've been talking with Marissa, she said, and she made a point that I can't ignore. Marissa, her longtime friend who treated relationships like a podcast topic. Jennifer kept going, voice smooth, almost rehearsed. Marriage is forever, and I don't want to start forever with any doubts. I need certainty. I nodded once slow. We're 9 weeks out, I said. If you have doubts, now is pretty urgent. It is urgent, she said, and her eyes flashed like she was proud of herself for being brave. That's why I'm saying it now. If you love me, you'll understand this isn't about you not being enough. It's about me needing to be sure. I let the silence stretch. She filled it. I need to experience other men, she said. Not emotionally, not dating, just physically, a few times, so I know what I'm choosing, so I don't always wonder. For a second, I honestly thought I'd misheard her, like my brain refused to process it as real. The condo felt too clean and too bright for a sentence like that. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't insult her. I didn't ask who she had in mind, because the answer wouldn't help me. I asked one clarifying question, the kind that makes someone hear the request in plain language. When you say experience other men, I said, keeping my tone level, you're asking for permission to sleep with other men while you're engaged to me and then still marry me on April 26th, correct? She looked right at me and said, yes, because I want to choose you with no regrets. She said it like it was romantic. Something in me went quiet, not numb, quiet like a door closing softly. Okay, I said. Jennifer's shoulders dropped in relief. She actually smiled, like she'd expected a fight and got a win instead. Thank you, she said, reaching for my hand. I knew you'd be secure. I knew you'd understand this is for us. I let her touch my fingers for a moment, then I gently pulled away and stood. I need to take a shower, I said. Sure, she replied, still calm, already acting like the difficult part was done. We'll talk more later. I'm proud of you, for not making this a big thing. I walked into the bathroom and locked the door, not because I was afraid of her, but because I needed one private minute to feel what I felt without her watching my face. I stared at myself in the mirror and thought, very clearly, she just asked me to be her backup plan. She asked me to stand there holding the ring while she tested other options. In my work, if a customer tells you they want a system that can't possibly handle their building load, you don't argue feelings. You tell them the truth and you protect your company from liability. This was the same. That night, Jennifer went about her routine like everything was fine. She made tea, she put on a show, she scrolled her phone with a little smile that made my stomach tighten. When she climbed into bed, she curled against me like she just deepened our intimacy. "I love you," she murmured. I kept my voice calm. "I heard you." She fell asleep quickly. I didn't. I got up quietly, went to the kitchen, and opened my laptop. I didn't pace. I didn't text friends. I didn't look for proof on her phone. I didn't need to. I went straight to the wedding folder in our shared email. Every contract, every invoice, every deposit confirmation was there. I read cancellation policies line by line. I made a clean list. I drafted emails that were polite and final. Around 1 a.m., I looked at the place cards on the counter, our names written in elegant script for a future that no longer existed, and I decided on total severance. No drama, no maybe later, no therapy negotiation. The decision was complete. In the morning, Jennifer left for her shift at the dental office, wearing her ring and a bright smile. She kissed my cheek at the door and said, "We're okay, right?" "We're okay," I said, and she took it as reassurance. The second her car pulled out, I moved. First, I called the resort in Scottsdale. "Hi, this is Evan Mercer," I said. "I'm calling to cancel our wedding event scheduled for April 26th. The coordinator's voice softened immediately. She pulled up the contract and explained the policy. Our venue deposit, $4,800, was non-refundable within 90 days. We were inside that window. I told her I understood and asked for written confirmation with the forfeiture clearly stated. Within minutes, an email hit my inbox. Event cancellation confirmed. It included the clause, the amount forfeited, and a confirmation number, receipt 1. Second, I emailed the caterer. We depaid a $2,000 deposit. Their policy allowed partial refunds if canceled before 60 days, but we were at 63 days, close enough that they offered a partial refund minus an administrative fee if they could rebook the date. They replied with an itemized cancellation invoice. Deposit retained $1,200, refund approved $800, processing 10 business days, receipt 2. Third, I contacted the photographer. She sent back a signed PDF acknowledging cancellation and highlighted the retainer clause, non-refundable, date released, receipt 3. I kept going, florist refund minus design fee, rentals full refund because we hadn't confirmed final counts, DJ deposit forfeited. Each one produced another confirmation email, another line of policy, another number I could point to later if anyone tried to twist the story. Then I handled the ring. Jennifer always left her ring in the little dish by the sink when she put on lotion, but today she wore it. I didn't chase her down for it. I did the clean, legal thing. The ring insurance and purchase documents were in my name. The jeweler in Biltmore had a buyback program. I scheduled an appointment and started the return process with the certificate and receipt. They printed a form, BUYBACK appointment confirmed, with the date and time and the estimated range of credit. It wasn't the ring yet, but it was the first step of closing the loop. Next was the condo lease. Both our names were on it. I wasn't going to stay tied to her financially while she experienced other men. I went to the leasing office, asked about early termination and roommate release options, and chose the cleanest route. I paid the lease break fee and signed a termination agreement effective in 30 days. It hurt to hand over that money, but it bought me something priceless: separation. The office printed a receipt with the fee amount and the effective date. Another piece of paper that meant she couldn't drag me back into her mess later. By early afternoon, my clothes were packed, my work gear, my tools, my personal documents, the things that were mine and only mine. I left the furniture, I left the kitchen stuff. I didn't want to battle over plates. I printed the cancellation confirmations and placed them in a folder on the counter on top of the wedding contract and the place cards. I left one short note. "Jennifer, I ended the engagement today. Vendors are canceled. Lease termination is filed on my end. Contact me only for essential logistics." Then I left my keys on the counter and walked out. I drove to my cousin Nate's place in Tempe. Nate is older, divorced, and allergic to nonsense. He opened the door, saw the boxes, and said, "Guest room's open." My phone started lighting up within 10 minutes. "Where are you? Answer me right now. This is childish." Then a voicemail, her voice sharp and confused. "Evan, did you cancel the venue? They emailed me. What is wrong with you?" I didn't respond. An hour later, the legally plausible detail that showed she didn't waste time arrived without me looking for it. Jennifer had used our shared email for a lot of wedding planning, and she used it again out of habit. A hotel confirmation landed in the shared inbox. Reservation confirmed, W Hotel Phoenix. Tonight, King Room, 2 guests. The reservation name was Jennifer S. I stared at it for a moment and felt something settle in my chest. Not heartbreak, confirmation. She hadn't asked for a hypothetical. She had a schedule. A little later, another voicemail came through, breathless. Okay, so you're really doing this. Because I was honest, I haven't even done anything yet. I'm meeting someone. That's what we talked about. You said okay. She said it like I'd given her a contract. Over the next several days, her messages came in waves. At first, she went for anger and pride. She called me insecure, controlling, dramatic. She wrote paragraphs about how mature couples don't let sex ruin love, how I was throwing away forever over ego. Then she shifted into bargaining, shorter texts, softer tone. We can pause, we can do therapy, I won't go through with it, we don't have to tell anyone. Then she dropped into pleading, late-night messages that made my phone glow in Nate's dark guest room. Please, I'm sorry, I can't breathe, I miss you, just talk to me for 5 minutes. I didn't answer, not because I enjoyed her pain, but because my boundary was my life raft. If I grabbed her hand, she'd pull me right back into the water. On day 5, her friend Marissa called. I recognized the number because Jennifer had once put it into my phone in case of emergencies. I answered because I assumed it might actually be an emergency. Marissa didn't even say hello properly. So you're really doing this, she said, disgust in her tone. You're going to destroy her life because she was honest with you. I'm not destroying anyone's life, I replied calmly. I ended an engagement. She was trying to make sure she chose you, Marissa snapped. Most women would just cheat. She respected you enough to talk about it. That's not respect, I said. That's asking me to hold the ring while she shops. Marissa scoffed. You men are so fragile. You can't handle a woman having experiences. I kept my voice steady. She can have any experiences she wants, just not with me waiting at the altar. You're being cruel. I gave one firm boundary line. Don't call me again. If Jennifer needs something logistical, she can email. Marissa started to argue. I ended the call. That night, the rage finally arrived in its pure form. Jennifer left a voicemail just after midnight. Her voice sounded like tears and fury mixed together. You think you're so calm and superior, she hissed. Like you're some prize, you're not, you're just safe. That's why I picked you. Safe men are easy to keep. They don't leave. They don't have options. I thought you'd take it because you're scared to be alone. She sniffed hard and added, quieter but sharper, you were supposed to be grateful I chose you. No slurs, no threats, just contempt finally telling the truth. I listened once, saved it, and turned my phone off. The next weeks were quiet in a way that felt unfamiliar at first. I went back to work with focus. I ran in the mornings. I lifted weights at night. I kept my routines clean. I moved into a small apartment in Mesa and bought a cheap rosemary plant for the window because I wanted one living thing in my space that didn't come with drama. Every morning I watered it, made coffee, and reminded myself that peace is something you maintain, not something you stumble into by accident. Eventually, Jennifer's messages slowed, then stopped. I thought that would be the end. The final encounter came in a place I didn't expect, a grocery store in Arcadia on a Sunday afternoon. I was in the produce section, comparing avocados like my life depended on it, when I heard my name behind me. Evan. I turned and saw Jennifer holding a basket with a few items inside, yogurt, bananas, something frozen. She looked tired. Her makeup was minimal. Her ring was gone. For a moment, she just stared at me like she wasn't sure I was real. I'm sorry, she said immediately, voice trembling. I know you don't owe me anything, but I didn't understand what I was doing. I kept my tone calm. What part didn't you understand? She flinched, then swallowed. I thought you'd stay. I thought you'd prove you loved me. And when you left, it was like, I saw myself clearly for the first time and I hated it. She looked down at her basket like it might save her. Can we start over? I gave her the final truth in a few sentences, steady and clean. I don't hate you, I said, but I won't be a backup plan. I won't marry someone who needs other men to confirm my value. You made your choice when you asked for that. I made mine when I said okay." Her eyes filled. She nodded slowly, like she was finally accepting reality. "Take care of yourself," I said, and I turned back to the avocados and walked away. If you've ever been treated like a safe option and chose your self-respect instead, tell me what you would have done. Drop it in the comments.